Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello. Greetings. Let's have a look. What's happening now? Alright. Okay. Hopefully I'm live. I'm going live. And I am. Oh, it's working. Okay. Hopefully I'm live. When I could hear my own voice, I know it's working. Yes. And we have already Woody Black. Good evening. I think I saw DJ B2 there somewhere as well. Yes, hello DJ B2. How are you? Right. Right, I know what to do now. Yes, of course. Share. So, I'll put it on Twitter. There we go. And, of course, Fascist Book. Come on in. There we go. So now we should get quite a few. Viewers now. We've already got 5. Hello, Kenny Noy. Greetings. The lights were low. Ben. Hi Ben. Hello. Hello Pookie Nana. And welcome back. Good to see you again. And Legend Real and Tina Silver. How are you all? I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's going all right with you. DJ says, DJ B2 has just finished a live stream with a friend, and another one starts. Well, I'm glad we didn't overlap. Hello, Michael Snow. How are you? Hope you're all doing well. I'll just get into the meat of what I'm talking about until we got lots of viewers. But I don't actually have much of a lead off. I mean, it's hello, Green Sky. Oh, nice one, Pookie. Pookie now has had a roast dinner. That's great. That's brilliant. We'll be discussing Brexit in a minute. I wasn't sure whether to do a special video for it, but I think I ought to do a proper video for Brexit. I'm not bad, thanks, Legend Real. I hope you are too. Because it is the first anniversary. It's actually tomorrow, not today. But it will be 1 year since Brexit Day, and so I thought I should do something to mark that. I think it's such an important thing. Hello, Kenny Noy. Yes, the anal swab was quite arousing. I see. You've been down to one of those test centres, haven't you? Hello to DJ Vucic. I want my bloody fish, von der Leyen. Oh, well, that's the thing, isn't it? But I want to talk about that. I mean, I've done a video about that, about the whole fishing business, but yeah, wonder how it's going to go from there. But hello, James, 78ish. How are you? I'm very well, thanks. And Kenny Noy has just had 6 anal swabs, and I bet they still don't know which variant you've got, have you? There's 4 variants now, you know. The new variant is actually, they call it the British variant, but there's one in South Africa and one in Brazil. So maybe you get all 4 of them. Do you get a medal or something if you survive all 4? Oh, you got to laugh, haven't you? Fishing is the key to our future success. Fishing is a vital industry that we have here. It's absolutely vital. And especially in certain areas such as the northeast, this is why so many of the Geordies voted Leave. DJ B2 says government issue butt plugs will be next. Kenny Noy says I'm HIV COVID. Oh my god, you got the full set. Pookie now, the British variant waits in line patiently. Michael Snow, HIV-19, wait for 20. So long as there's some drugs they can flog, there'll be a disease. You know that phrase? There's a pill for every ill. Do you remember that line? That middle medical maxim? There's a pill for every ill. No, it's the other way around. There's an ill for every pill. Kenny, I hope you will be all right, Kenny. I really do, because I've had the coof, and it's not. I mean, I didn't feel I was in danger, but I was pretty rough. I was pretty sick. I think that's. I've been lucky with my health. Touch wood, wherever there is some wood, and but I was pretty ill that time. Israel Diego Rivera 2 Genius 2. Brexit is a complete fraud. No, it's not. No, it's not. I think Diego Rivera and I like to have the same arguments over and over again. James 7080, the EU has shown its true colours. There was a video I was going to see, actually. It was Maya Tusi, but I never got the chance to actually see it before I went live. But let's just have a look. Yeah, the EU made a mistake over COVID vaccines, Gove says. Just let me add someone. What's this all about then, eh? They made a mistake. The European Union recognised it made a mistake in triggering an emergency provision in the Brexit deal to control COVID vaccine exports. Oh, God. The Cabinet Minister Office Minister said. Gove said he was confident of the UK's vaccine supply and said the programme would continue as planned. Oh, I bet he is. The UK is on track to deliver 15 million doses by the 15th of February. It comes after the EU reversed the decision, which could have seen checks at the Irish border amid a vaccine row. Oh, good grief. You see, obviously, lots of Brexiteers think the vaccine is a good thing. A lot of Brexiteers think, oh, great, it's fantastic, and they're seeing this as an EU's deficiency. Obviously, my own views on the vaccine make it very, very different, isn't it? But Legend Real says I cannot buy white haddock fillets, so they're none around in the shops even. Richard Best says give it 15 minutes. Hello, Richard. The football's still on, is it? All right. Well, I'm sure more people will join us then. But I can't wait. I can't wait for the football, unfortunately. But any of you guys are actually, I've upstaged the football for you. You guys are already here. That's great. Kenny Noy said, my anal cavity was throbbing, definitely colon COVID. Oh, my goodness me. Well, it's certainly giving you kind of honesty disease, hasn't it? You don't have to be quite so candid with your medical details, if you want. I wouldn't be myself. Hello, Hugo Rune. Greetings. Michael Snow says, is our VAT rollout helped by Brexit? Well, according to this, it's not. You see, this is the EU. This is the weird thing, because it looks like the EU have tried to withhold vaccine supplies. They've got this deal where the vaccine, because of some piece of red tape, vaccines delivery has been held up, which of course is an attempt to ruin Brexit. It's an attempt to make Brexit look bad. However, of course, as far as I'm concerned, I'd be quite happy if they wouldn't have any vaccines at all. Kenny, I'm not going to read that out. Good grief. I think you may have mistaken this for some kind of private call with your counsellor. Diego Rivera, the English Bigfoot does not want the vaccine either. I bloody hope it doesn't, Diego Rivera. Pookie Nana. He's talking about snow. Oh, that snow video was so good. I hope if we get more, I'll do another one. If we get more snow. Can you spill the beans, Ben Kenobi? You must be bloody joking. I wouldn't spill the beans any more than Ben Kenobi did about who was Luke's father. TK, hello. Could you ask the people who make the weather to make it warmer soon? Well, I could put out an appeal to the weather control like you see in that Disney movie from the 50s, Eyes in the Sky. However, I'd rather they sent me some more snow, actually. Obi Ben Laden. Diego Rivera asked, will you take the vaccine, Ben? I think, does the Pope poo in the woods? DJ B2, Hancock resembles a weasel. He's horrible, isn't he? I mean, him, Boris, and the others, they're just disgusting. They just revolt me. I mean, well, I see Boris, I feel, is being compelled in some way, so I feel a little bit less condemnatory of him, but the others, I think, are going along with it willingly. Diego Rivera, when will Trump make his comeback? I don't know. Soon, I hope. Fabian Moon says, hi, Ben. Michael Snow, get the harp out. Yes, with 2 A's. No jabs for me, says Pookie. Well done. Onslow says, that walk in the snow was really interesting and lovely scenery. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Onslow. I really am. And I'm going to do another. If we get more snow, fingers crossed, I'll do another one. Kenny, no, look what the vaccine does for Russell. No, thank you. No, if Russell took a vaccine, he'd be totally deflated, literally, because it would pop him. Because, of course, he's full of air. James, yes, the quickest way to kill 65 million, I suppose, Ben. Well, if they want to get it down to the Georgia Guidestones level, they've got a long way to go, because there's roughly, no one knows exactly how many, but there's between 6 and 7 billion people in the world, and they want 500 million. So that means roughly 90% of the people in the world they don't want. So that if they're going along with the Georgia Guidestones model, definitely. What was Gove on about anyway? Yeah, there's been all kinds of everything seemed to be working all right. Like there was a bit of fuss because some lorry drivers were turned back at Dublin at the harbour because they didn't have the right paperwork. But generally the nightmare on Elm Street situation the Ramonas have always predicted didn't happen. Let's have a look what's happening in the... Oh, here we go. Fiasco on the Northern Ireland. Oh, you see, they're still in the news. No doubt with the anniversary. And I should point out the anniversary is tomorrow, not today. It's the 31st of January. Today's the 30th. Good thing is tomorrow I can't really do it. That's I would have done it on the actual day, the actual anniversary, but I just can't. I can't actually. Tomorrow. Jock of Ages says, I've got a valid excuse for not taking the vaccine. I'm allergic to penicillin. I don't think I've got a penicillin allergy too, and I don't think that's an excuse. But you can say you're allergic to... You can say that you've had bad allergic reactions to other vaccines, I think. Jake Yorkman says, I've had the vaccine and I've never felt better, says Jake. Right. Are you going to keep posting, right, all the way through this live stream because we want to check you're all right. Onslow, 120,000 one-off payment if damaged by the vaccine. That's peanuts compared to what vaccines can do to people. You know, if you say you die or something. Fab and Moon, if millions don't wake up in the next year, what are your thoughts on a way out? Well, I don't really... If millions don't wake up at some point, I don't know. There is no way out. But then this is where the 100th monkey effect comes in, which I've talked about before. We never know when we might hit that point. Tina Silver says, some of the reports say the vaccine makes men infertile. Did you see... I think... Who was it who reported... There's some person in America who went for the doctor for the vaccine. The doctor almost shrugged and sort of said, by the way, you might want to consider freezing some of your sperm, just to be on the safe side. What? What? Why do they... What would you say if doctors said that? We say, well, maybe I just shouldn't take the vaccine then. Hugo Roon says, I'm not bothered about the jab. My immune system has been excellent. I cannot recall the last time I suffered a cold or flu in my school years, I think. That's quite good, because I know, Hugo, you're 60-something, aren't you? That's quite considerable, that you've not suffered from a cold or flu all that time. I don't know if it's all the wacky-backy you smoke, but still, I wouldn't take the vaccine, mate. I really wouldn't. It could be the one thing that could compromise your immune system. Richard Best still waiting for the 10-mile queues at Dover. Yeah, I'm sure that the Ramonas are desperately. They're going to say it's coming. Brexit is going to be a disaster. It's one point soon. It's going to happen. Diego Rivera, UK is still part of the free market. Do you mean the single market? No, we're not. That's something. And we don't. No, you see, I did a special video about the deal. Do you remember? Kenny Noy, infertile. Hopefully, Smarmy Sanders had the vaccine then. Do you mean not Bernie Sanders? I don't think he's planning on having any more kids. He's on the old side, right? Do you mean Neil Sanders? Well, I hope Neil hasn't actually. I don't know what Neil's position is on the vaccine. If you're watching, Neil, don't have the vaccine. All right, please don't. Jake Yorman, have any of you guys ever froze your own sperm? Oh, goodness me. I hope no one's going to make a joke. It says, I tried it once. Yeah, I put it in a little ice cube box and I put it in the freezer, but it didn't work. Don't make any jokes like that, please. No, if sperm freezing is something, and over freezing and general human tissue freezing is much more complicated than that. You can't just stick it in an ice cube box and shove it in the freezer. It's got to be done specially. I mean, I remember that from the hospital. It's got to be processed properly, otherwise it's just no good. Buddy Black says, I've got a bit of room in the freezer. Crafty Nihilist, hello, how are you? So, Kenny, you mean Neil Sanders? All right. Neil, whatever you think of him, and I disagree with a lot of what he says, I wouldn't want to see him come to any harm. So, Neil, please don't risk it, mate. Don't take the vaccine. Neil, your thoughts are not your own. That's it. Yeah, that's a good book, actually. His more recent, based on his articles more recently, I've sort of departed. I think he and I have sort of departed in terms of opinion quite considerably. But that book's pretty good. Tina says, make sure when you're making your G&T, you get the right ice cubes. Yes. Oh, for goodness sake, yes. Do label it, please. Oh dear, God dear. I feel just. Oh my goodness me, that's nauseous. What's Jake? Oh dear. I'm glad I'm not kind of like drinking anything tonight because that'll put me off. Kenny Noy, Neil and Andrew Johnson are both smarmy sods. Neil is. I disagree with Neil on an awful lot. Andrew Johnson, I've got personal issues with. I disagree with him less than I do Neil Sanders, but I've got personal issues. There's a personal issue between me and Andrew that's not been resolved. Crafty nice mask Jabason is not. Yeah, did you see Jam Noise 72's video about the? She put on a video with the woman's pad. Did you see it? Oh, please do watch it. It's really funny. I put a comment underneath. Now, that's what I call social dis-tennising. Michael Snow, Johnson wears a shitty blue fleece. He doesn't anymore. I think he's developed more taste in fashion. Rich Planet they're actually selling. They're selling the fleece. Jock of Age, Neil's a bit left for me. Yeah, I think he is for me too. Diego Rivera. I'm not going to read that out, but I hope it won't come to that. I hope it won't come to a point where we find that out. It's these things happen, you know. I'm glad I keep my private life private in a sense. I keep my private and professional things separate. Very often when people fall out, you know it, because when someone falls out personally with another person in the truth movement, you know what happens? There's a huge Barney on Facebook or Twitter, and suddenly they'll start saying horrible things about each other on the open internet, you know, posting things on their social media about it, and very often a personal issue. You know what happens? It starts off with personal attacks, and then the accusations of this person being a shill or that person being a shill break out. If you remember, that's it. Pookie Nana, you saw that video. That was really funny. Jam Noise. I don't think she's here tonight, but Jam Noise 722 is a great YouTuber. I've known her for ages. I've known her now for about 12 or 13 years. We collaborated on a couple of projects, so she's really, really great. Yeah. Kenny about saying more about issues. Yeah. In terms of personality, sometimes Kenny, we can have personality clashes, and this doesn't change the way the value of a person's work. I mean, for example, I still have a link to checktheevidence.com on my website. I still recommend that website, and I haven't had any difference of opinion with Andrew over anything. It's just that sometimes personalities clash, and sometimes issues come up which drive wedges between people, and when that happens, if it's a personal thing, I keep it personal. Jake Yorkman. Anyone remember Corbyn's knitted jumper? Oh, Corbyn. Who's he? Forgotten about him. Lee said soonest mended, yeah. Kenny Noy. Richard should do an interview with you, Ben Laden. Richard who? Richard D. Hall. I mean, I've been on his show once. He's not invited me back. I'd be happy to talk to him if you wanted me to, but he seems to stick to Richard D. Hall these days sticks to a select few of people. He keeps bringing 5 or 6 different guests in, and then he'll just rotate them back to the same 5 or 6 different guests. His variety in terms of guests has dropped actually since he first started out, and this is because he has become much more cynical, I think, towards other people within the truth movement since when he first started out, sort of 2010 time. I wouldn't say I'd say his material is still of high quality. His most recent videos are still pretty good. He just doesn't collaborate as much as he used to. He tends to set himself apart. Crafty Noah says, we're making a video. We googled Brian Cox as a twat, and a picture of you in a black wig came up. Yeah, that's a video, Crafty. It is. Diego Rivera, Biden seems to be getting more senile. How long can he last? I don't think this situation is sustainable with Biden. I think they've blown it. I don't think they intended to have this takeover to be so transparent. Kenny Noy, Richard hasn't done anything decent for ages. He has. I mean, his recent... I thought that the Manchester thing was very good. The Manchester bombing thing was very good. That was something he did last year. That was excellent. TK, Richard and Andrew are trying to do real conspiracy stuff, not interdimensional energy channeling. Well, I think both are real. So sometimes interdimensional energy channeling is a real thing. Jake, I'm glad you says you like the snow video. Thanks very much. So what's happening with what's happening in the news? Well, first I've got to ask a question. First question I've got to ask is there going to be something we call Independence Day? I don't know what you guys think, because I remember when Boris was campaigning for the Leave side, he said that the date of the referendum would be our Independence Day. Of course, that's actually June the 23rd, and so on the anniversary of June the 23rd, I actually did I can't remember if it was a video or it was an article saying Happy Independence Day, because it was the anniversary of the referendum. Of course, we were still in the EU, and we had more than 2 years to go before leaving the EU at that point. But I still thought, do we call that Independence Day? Because I did an article called Happy Referendum Day. Hello, Mindset Central. Gareth, how are you? Welcome. So is that, what do we call it? Because there's essentially 3 major days on the calendar that we could talk about. Three major days. One is the referendum, June the 23rd. The other is the day the deal was implemented, which of course I've already covered recently because it was New Year's Day this year, just gone. And then, of course, there is the date of Brexit itself, which is the 31st of January. So which one of those is Independence Day? Which do you think is Independence Day? Which would be the best one to celebrate? Just let me know. Hello, Andrew Munchkin. How are you? Oh, am I getting the vaccine? Yes, I am getting the vaccine. Of course I'm not. Crafty Nihilist, the great reopening didn't happen. Oh, man. I'll have to watch your sweary video about that. Yeah, the great reopening. That was going to be an act of rebellion where loads of people were going to come out and things, you know. Hugo Rune, of course, has pulled me up, as he always does when I start talking about interdimensional things. Yeah. That's this is your cosmology, Hugo. I do find interesting. I don't follow every element of it, but it's always interesting to hear what you have to say about that. I'll probably cover that on the comments reply video at some point. Diego Rivera asked, "What happened to the Sphinx in Wales?" I hope it's still there, but it was really quite a remarkable thing, wasn't it? That the forensic historians found, didn't they? That I found pretty amazing. DJ Beacher, I'm going to dig out my Face Off DVD and watch it later. That's a great movie, that is. Pookie Nana, probably not. Jimmy Cranky would use it to bash us even more than she does now. Probably not. Now, Jimmy Cranky is... well, I wish she was as funny as the real Jimmy Cranky. She's not. Nicola Sturgeon is just a big fish out of water who's now kissing the arse of Brussels. She's at the same time she's pushing for the Scottish independence referendum. Now, surely there must be lots of people who can see this contradiction. She's desperate for Scotland to lose its independence by becoming an EU member state. And of course, because of Brexit now, this cannot happen within the United Kingdom. So she basically says, I want to cut off Scotland from the UK and go back into the EU. And she'll say, well, most of the Scottish people voted to remain. Ooh. Andrew, I'm not getting a vaccine of any kind. Oh, Kenny Noyes says Neil Sanders is in chat. Where? I can't see him. He's welcome to be here if he wants. I know you don't like him, Kenny, but he's welcome to be here. Onslow is now... No, Onslow's going on about... Oh, goodness me. Onslow, you're starting to sound like Kenny. Oh, no, you're talking about... Oh, sorry, Onslow is now talking about Kenny. Pardon me. Crafty Nihilist is... Nick Hayes is amazing, yeah. Tina Silva is asking about the Oxford monolith. No, it's gone. Did you see the video? I went there. I went there 2 days later and it had gone. So another question. So what do you reckon? Do you reckon that this Brexit Day should be... The main one, I think, should be the 31st of January, because that is when we left the EU. That should be the main one, in my view. That is basically tomorrow it's basically the first anniversary of Brexit. We've been independent for a year. And it's quite nice, actually, that this comes after the deal is implemented. Because I was hoping that there would be... I was hoping that it would be... That it was kind of like there'd be no deal. That was the ideal thing was we would go with the World Trade Organization. That template deal, which could be implemented at any time, and then the negotiations could carry on from that. Of course, this is what the Ramonas call crashing out without a deal. But of course, that's just rhetoric on their part. Project Fear. There's actually nothing wrong with the World Trade Organization's barley package. It will function perfectly well until such time in the post-deal situation that we could set up. We could take our time. We could do it at a leisurely pace. Set up new relationships with the European continent, which would be very, very easy to do. Hello, Douglas Smith. Welcome. Pookie Nana says Sturgeon had a Marilyn Monroe moment and her skirt went up. It looks like she was wearing a... Oh, dearie me. I don't think I want to see that, quite frankly. Tina Silver, Brexit Day, the 1st of April. Oh, Tina, are you mocking Brexit? The 1st of April is April Fool's Day. Michael Snow says, what about Frexit? You mean France? Yeah, well, it all depends, because France now has an election coming up, and they're going to... Last time they brought in that horrible little squit, Macron, they had the opportunity of having their own Donald Trump, who is Marine Le Pen. And instead, well, you see, I was going to say that they were foolish enough to instead go for silly little Macron. However, based on what I've seen so far, it's quite possible that election was rigged too. How likely is it that was rigged as well? The France, see, what will happen in the next election is, you see, in a sense, we're going back to, this is what's sad. It appears at the moment, and it could turn around. Hello, 69 Phuket, how are you? And Pookie Nana says, WTO rules is a perfect off-the-shelf solution. Exactly. With France, what's going to happen is there's going to be an election, and will it be a real fair election? Will they realise that they've made a terrible mistake with Macron, and they will go for Marine Le Pen? If Marine Le Pen gets in, she's very pro Frexit. She's against the EU. If France pulls out the EU, then I can't see what can stop the very imminent collapse of the empire. It's going to be like the fall of the Roman Empire took about 200 years. The fall of the new EU empire will take about 6 weeks if France pulls out. Because some of these are major nations. There's big and small nations in the EU. The big ones were Britain, France, Germany. Britain's gone now. Unfortunately, they've got Angela Merkel, who is she's basically a female Joe Biden. I'll be to say more about him in a minute. And Germany now is in a terrible state. Germany seems to be set up, as is always the case in history, certainly for the last couple of centuries. Germany is kind of like the centre of the board. It's the midfield area where all the action takes place, which is why they're setting up for some kind of disaster. This is why they're focusing on the migration has been focused on Germany. They've had 2 million of them. I mean, all countries have had mass migration, but Germany's had the most. And of course, Angela Merkel, who is she's a former East German communist. That's Pookie Nana said. Did I say former? Is sort of like going along with it. DJ B2 says Merkel is losing her grip. Wasn't she supposed to be resigning? She announced, I think about 2 years ago, she was going to resign within 6 months, and she was going to hand everything over to her little mini-me, this young woman who's basically a clone of her. DJ B2 says she got spooked up with the social media banning of Trump. Well, the problem with her is, though, her problem wasn't that he was banned by... She didn't oppose his banning, she just thought that the government ought to have done it. That's what I gather. Douglas Smythe says, I like Neil Sanders. He's an interesting guy and speaks about interesting things. He knows his stuff. He is interesting, and some of what he speaks about is very correct. I think he's got some things wrong, especially recently. I think I've discussed that before. If you think it's my video called Why 2016 Matters, I do a big in-depth analysis of Neil and what he did. Pookie Nana says Merkel is losing her grip. That's the Alzheimer's kicking in. Yes, she's a female Joe Biden in more ways than one. Apparently, when they sing the Deutschlandslied, the song of Germany, the national anthem, that's when she tends to have seizures. Interestingly, Kenny Noy says Thomas Sheridan's a bit of a nutbag, a fantasist. Thomas Sheridan. I think he's really good. He's really interesting. And I'm a big fan of his, actually. I've interviewed him on Paranormal Radio, and it was really great that he was on the show. I don't think he's either of those things. DJ Beater says the political class does not like big tech stealing some of their power. Exactly, from her position. Now, so I'm going to treat, as far as Brexit Day goes, I'm going to call... If there is a day I'll call Independence Day, it is tomorrow. It is the 31st of January. But I'm still going to celebrate Referendum Day and Deal Day. I suppose you'd call it Deal Day. So there'll be 3. Celebrate 3 a year. Until maybe such time as people decide on one. I don't know. As I've explained previously, the Brexit deal is kind of like lukewarm approval, I think. And DJ Booter says Deutschland über alles should be their anthem. It is. Deutschland, Deutschland über alles. Hello, Dalai Lapa. How do you do? As Nigel Farage actually, Nigel Farage has gone completely nuts in the last couple of weeks. He's completely lost his mind, in my view, and he said some terrible things. Best Bed says, "Did you buy Bitcoin, Ben?" I don't have any Bitcoins. No, I don't. I should. I've got some OneCoins, but Mindset Central. Gareth says I'm wearing the "Don't Mention the Reptilians" t-shirt. I am. You recognise it? Yes. Hello, Al McCall. Kenny Noy says Dave Murphy is a strange guy, a racist. Dave Murphy, no, he's a flat earther. He's not a racist. I mean, I used to do a show with him on CMR, Critical Mass Radio. He's not a racist. He was always really nice to me, and I'm white. So why would he be nice to me if he was a racist? Dave. I don't have a problem with Dave apart from his flat Earth beliefs. And I know for some people that's it. If someone says flat Earth, they get blocked and they won't have anything to do with them. I don't. I just disagree with them basically. The Nigel Farage, his analysis of the Brexit deal was actually very good. He quite rightly said it could have been a hell of a lot worse. Basically, most of what was in it was not bad. Could have been, and of course now it's been implemented. I'd rather they'd gone WTO, but they went with this deal, which was accepted. At the very last minute, it was accepted. My fear was that really it was either that or knowing the way Boris has like flip-flopped. I mean, to be fair, Boris has been pretty consistent with Brexit, I must say. Despite the fact that he's completely cucked over the vaccine, he's just become a completely normal politician when it comes to the coronavirus. He has maintained his stance on Brexit, which I respect. However, I was afraid that he was going to be coerced. He was going to be cajoled into having an extension to the negotiation process. That was what we really didn't want, because once you get one extension, it's just like the extension for Brexit itself. It just goes on and on and on, and we stay under EU laws until then, most of them. But he didn't. The fact that the deal happened at least meant there wasn't going to be a bloody extension. And I mean, I was also concerned that when there was going to be a deal that was going to be Brexit in name only, and this is what's always been Brino, Brexit in name only, that would happen. But it's not Brino. Some people are claiming that this deal is Brino. It's not. Some people now, yes, Dalai Lapa's mentioned TTIP. I'm going to bring that up again. I'm going to bring that up in a minute because that's when Joe Biden comes into things. The deal. I thought there was going to. My fear was there was going to be a choice between a crappy deal, which would be Britain, remaining in the under the European Central Bank and the European courts, the Court of Justice, so called, in the most Orwellian way possible, the Court of Justice. I was scared we were going to have like a stay in the single market, basically a Norway Part 2. That's what I thought might happen. Lapa says disclosure in name only. Oh, God blimey. You're mixing metaphors here, Dalai. And I thought that there was going to be... Basically, that would have been... We'd essentially be half in, half out. We'd be kind of Norway part Mark II. That didn't happen. The big problem was... Hello, Earth Dog. How do you do? Earth Dog, hi Ben, do you have a contact email? Yes, I do. It's on my website, but I'll write it in anyway. I'll just write it in the chat. There you go. Oh, sorry, I spelt it wrong. Let me just delete that. Hang on. Okay, here we go. I'll write it properly here. That's it, yeah. So Earth Dog, feel free to write to me. What happened was, though, it wasn't as bad as that. We were out the single market. We're out of the customs union. We're out. So there's no way we're ever going to get the euro. The euro will never be legal tender in Britain. At least, not the way we're going at the moment. And we're out of the common market. That's the good thing. That's the good news. The bad news is they cucked on the fishing. What they've done is I've done a video already explaining this. What actually happened was that they're actually going to allow basically the situation to continue as it is over a 5-year period. What's going to happen? My hope was that they were going to actually put an import duty on EU fish caught in British waters. Basically, it was going to be like an 80% import duty, which would mean that fishing boats would never ever come into British waters because it would be completely uneconomical because they'd be exporting the fish. They'd basically be catching the fish, exporting it to Britain, and paying so much tax on it that it would be no point. There's no point. Hello, Claire. Happy anniversary. Happy Brexit anniversary, Claire. TK, what do the aliens think about the Brexit agreement, Article 16? Which, remind me what Article 16 is. Sorry, I've heard it before, but I don't have that. I don't have the information to hand. But what they've done is essentially they haven't done it. They put I think it's 28% import duty, which means that it's still economically viable for EU fishing boats to drop their nets in British waters, and they're going to let them do it for at least 5 years. What they're going to do is they're going to have a slow handover. It's going to be a very slow handover, it's going to be renegotiated every 12 months. They're going to re-examine it, and the hope is that within 5 years' time that there'll be a suitable fishing deal to protect the British fishing industry. And obviously the fishermen are actually nuts about this. They're quite rightly furious. They feel betrayed, and they're right to feel betrayed. And that's sad. I mean, that's the bad side of the deal. Now, when you take a step back and look at it holistically, is that situation alone enough to say implementing the deal was the wrong thing to do? I'm sorry, fishermen. I would say no. However, I know exactly what you feel, and I think it should be abandoned. I think hopefully, if Boris finds some way to get back into power, because obviously he's not calling the shots right now. I think he wants to. He wants to be the British Trump, and he's not. If that happens, then we have a chance of basically stopping it, because this deal, the fishing deal, can be cancelled with 12 months' notice, even during this 5-year period. The 5-year thing is basically, when you say 5-year, right? When you say 5 years' time, it basically means never. We're just going to ignore the problem and kick the can down the road for future statesmen to deal with. So that's what they want. Hello, how we've got some new people. Malaya Haya. Hello, Malaya Haya. And Silent Tavern is back again. Silent Tavern, I would love to sit inside you and have a drink. I really, really would. Shock of Ages. Ben, do you think the no voters in Scotland should have their own party representing us because the SNP don't? Jock, by all means, you set up an opposition to this, because it's obvious that the Scottish National Party is not Scottish Nationals. It's not a Scottish Nationalist Party. It's not. And so by all, you do need to set up some kind of opposition which will absolutely challenge Sturgeon and what she's trying to do, selling your country to the European empire. Kenny Noy, as long as Ben gets his fish fingers. I haven't had fish fingers for months, but I do like them. Pookie Nana, I think Princess Nutnuts is threatening him with a release for sex tape. Oh, God. All right. Hugo who's talking about UK column. I agree with you. UK 420 consider UK column to be conspiraloons. UK column, guess what, has been accused of being disinfo and shills. I mean, the thing is, everyone's being accused of being disinfo and shills, aren't they? Everyone. So what I'm hoping is that the ideal thing is Boris finds some way to maybe rescue his wife and child from wherever they're being kept. And Cosmic Claire says the SNP are actually international communists, Ben. Precisely, Claire, precisely. I'm hoping that Boris finds some way to rescue his wife and child from wherever they're being hidden. Maybe getting the special forces to do it. This is why I recommended that he tries that. I sent him that copy of Who Dares Wins, the film about special forces. If he does that, of course, he will be back into control. He will completely cancel the fishing deal. He'll go, hopefully, I would say not even 12 months. Just say British waters are for British fishing boats. Because the EU are coming out with the most ridiculous kind of compromises. Oh, we'll catch the fish and sell them back to you at a discount. We'll catch British fish in British waters and sell the fish to the EU at Britain at a discount. I mean, what? Sold the discount. The obvious answer is, well, why don't you just stay out of our waters and let's catch the fish ourselves? I think that what Boris should do is simply say British. Go with exactly what the fishermen want. British waters, British fish, and basically send the Royal Navy in if anyone disagrees. If anyone tries to invade those waters, send the bloody Royal Navy in. And we don't want another cod war like the one with Iceland, but this is how it should work. This is the problem with the whole thing is that Boris is clearly different from others. I mean, that what happened in Greece. Greece was basically bankrupted by the European Central Bank, and so they voted for Alexis Tsipras, he was like the Boris Johnson. He was the Nigel Farage of Greece. And the Greek people are really passionate. They're very hot-headed people, and they're very, very patriotic. In Greece, unlike in Britain, there's no kind of negative feelings to do with patriotism. In Britain, probably because of all the cultural Marxist education we get and propaganda, you can't. Being patriotic in Britain is kind of like, there's always a kind of like a half-raised eyebrow of disapproval, as if you're some kind of monstrous jackboot-toting Nazi or something. If you say you're patriotic. In Greece, there's absolutely nothing like that at all. They wouldn't even understand that. They don't understand why British people feel that way. Kevin Green, hello, says that special forces may have got Boris's wife and child. They work for the Crown. Remember the issue of Corbyn being privy to intelligence briefings? Well, it all depends, you see. Whenever these kinds of things break out, a very crucial factor in any kind of revolutionary situation is the partisanship of the armed forces. That's very important. Who do they support? This is going to come up in the United States very soon, I'll tell you. This is going to come up very, very quickly soon in America, and I'll be covering that in the future, and I'll say a few words about that in this live stream. But the thing about in Greece, they're very patriotic, and they hate. I mean, how the hell they got into the EU, I'll never know. But they were basically screwed by the European Central Bank. Unemployment reached like over 50%. It was ridiculous. They entered a Great Depression in their country, and I mean there's others that are not far behind, like Ireland and Spain. I mean, how anyone in these countries, how can anyone in Ireland actually be pro-EU? It's crazy. How can anyone in bloody Spain be pro-EU? Hello, Peaceful Warrior. Salute. Hope you're well. I'm not bad, thanks, Peaceful Warrior. I'm okay. Thanks for joining us. So they elected this guy Alexis Tsipras. Now he's part of the Syriza Front, which is it's actually quite left wing. It's a populist left wing movement, but it's kind of like a Bernie Sanders type libertarian kind of situation, rather than the horrible Hillary Clinton or kind of situation. He was also he was not sort of like part of the SJW cultural Marxist thing. It was more like the Labour Party in the 70s kind of thing. And what Tsipras did, because he was kind of like I suppose he's a bit like Tony Benn, because Tony Benn was very anti-EU. He's Tony Benn, interestingly, he's very left-wing. He's a famous left-wing politician. However, at the Brexit celebration, when he came up on, you saw it if you've seen my coverage because I filmed it. When he came up on the screen when they were doing that little history mini feature, he got a big cheer from the audience. These supposed evil right-wing racists, the horrible things they say about Brexiteers. So Tsipras says, I'm going to cancel the debt. I'm simply going to default on the loan from the European Central Bank. I'm going to reintroduce the drachma. I'm going to pull Greece out of the Eurozone, everything like that. He made all these promises. People elected him. Do you remember the referendum? It was ochi. It's the only word of Greek I know. Ochi, it means no. They won. It looks like OXI. It's actually the Greek script, not the English uses the Latin script. Greek uses its own script, and that won. And so Tsipras had this referendum. Overwhelmingly, Ochi won. But then he seemed to like suddenly take on a massive amount of soy, and he just said, right, I have a mandate from the people. I'm going to go back to the European Central Bank and renegotiate our position and hopefully get a loan off Germany. And what? You can imagine how people felt betrayed by that. I was watching a really interesting documentary about Greece and about what happened in Greece. 69 Phuket says, you realise we'll be in a 10-hour reply to comments video. Hospital porters have a huge threshold for boredom. Oh, give me a chance, Mike. Give us a chance. That's coming up soon. So Tsipras essentially cucked. And that was really sad. That's very, very sad that people put their trust in someone who then betrays them. And I think this is kind of like what Boris has done over the coronavirus. However, to be fair to him, he has maintained, for whatever reasons, he's managed to maintain his stance over Brexit. I mean, maybe he has some dirt on them, as well as them having his wife and kid in custody. Michael Snow says, 7 Up the bum. Is that how you like to ingest lemonade, Michael? Did you see, Jock of Ages is talking about the swab now. Did you see that video about they found nanoparticles in the PCR test? I mean, I don't know, is that true? I mean, obviously, I'm reporting it, whether it's true or not. I mean, obviously, time will tell whether we can actually find out whether it's true or not. But it reminds me of what Cliff Carnicom discovered about the chemtrails. Do you remember the things he discovered? And so Sophia Smallstorm covered in her lecture about Morgellons disease. So, you see, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs because, I mean, if you take Brexit out of the equation, then there's nothing left of 2016, is there? I mean, if anyone can think of something else. Tina Silver says, I haven't felt well since my last COVID test. The woman made me bleed. Oh, did you take the thing up the nose, Tina? Where you made your nose bleed? It does. It rubs the soft membranes at the back of your nose. Oh, Tina, that's bad. I hope you'll be all right, Tina. Now, oh, hello, Animal Auntie Bev. How are you? I escaped to Greece for a week last year. It's very sane compared to over here. Oh, Tina, I'm glad. I'm sorry you're ill, Tina. Really, I'm sorry you've had that test. As I said, with Greece, what Tsipras should have done is he should have stuck by his word. Immediately wrote to the EU and said, screw your debt, we're not paying it. It's unlawful, we're not paying it off. We're going to ruin our country if we pay off this loan. And that's it, just start printing the old drachma, the original currency of Greece. So just cancel the euro and actually have Grexit, just make Greece independent. He didn't. Oh. So this is why we need it. I know it's a difficult thing to face the swamp, but we need people to stand up to the swamp. I mean, if someone's gets into power, into office, and they're against the swamp, when you realise the horrors of the swamp, I don't doubt it's difficult. I'm sure there are things even I don't know about, which haven't even escaped to the conspiratorial community yet. And when people find out, it's sometimes they quail, and their courage fails them. And I don't like to be judgmental in that respect. What would I do in his situation? What if they threatened my daughter or something like that? What if I had my little girl? Well, she's not little, she's 25, she's a big girl. But what if, I love her very much, of course, and she's still like my little girl. What if they had her in custody? What would I do? As TK says, but won't they just kidnap your family? Yeah. You see, the thing about Trump is Trump has a big family. That's his thing. He has numerous children, lots of grandchildren, and that puts him in a difficult situation. Dalai Lama says, send the president of Greece a link to your channel, Ben. Problem sorted. I don't think he is not the president of Greece anymore. I don't know who is now. Diego Rivera asked, do aliens have sex with humans? Yes, they do. Sometimes, yeah. Hey, Tina, I hope they're not going to give you any more of those tests. I mean, do you have to take them? Who is the president of Greece right now? Let's have a look. Or Prime Minister of Greece. Greek head of state is Katerina Skalarapoulou. Is the president of Greece, right? Who's the main leader of Greece? Oh no, there's the president is not the same as the prime minister. The incumbent prime minister is Kyriakos Mitsotakis. Greek is a weird language. Yeah. But whoever they are, I mean, Tsipras is gone now. For all his cucking, it didn't gain him anything. He could have been that nation's greatest hero and wasn't. Boris, you see, that's the difference. Trump, still, I think it's possible that Trump's greatest days are still yet to come. We don't know yet. The situation in the United States is on a knife edge right now. And it could go either way. Now, you see, the 2016 effect, when it happened, was amazing. The Illuminati basically lost control of the entire situation for... am I still recording? Yeah, I'm recording and I am streaming at the same time. Good. They lost control of all the political structures of the world. Hello, Ed Kaler, how are you? They lost control of all the political situations of the structures of the world for probably about 7 months. And then they spent the last 4 years trying to claw that back, and they've been partly successful. However, really, Brexit is the one big thing at the moment that still remains, and hasn't been undone yet. Trump has been illegally removed from office in essentially a fraudulent coup d'état, which hopefully he will find a way of undoing and putting down, which I talked about that on previous videos about the coup d'état in the United States. We don't know yet what's going to happen. It's too soon to tell. But Brexit is something we still have. It's something we haven't lost yet. Now, the question though with Brexit is, what's going to happen next with this? We've now been out of the EU a year. This time, tomorrow 11 PM, it will be exactly 1 year since we left the EU. The deal has now been implemented. It's been here for a month. What's going to happen next? Hello, Glowtone. How are you? COVID tests are mandatory in some workplaces. Oh, good grief. It's awful. So the future for Brexit now depends, I think, very much on what happens in the United States. I'll explain what I mean. Pookie Nana says, I did post a farewell Trump video. Some people didn't like it. Lol. It's absolutely fine, I think, to put a video like that up. But I would say, Pookie, I think it's too soon to say farewell. I think that we're going to hear more from him. I think it's quite likely at some point that the situation with this the globalist recapturing of the United States is going to undo itself. It's just so obvious what's going on. It's just so ridiculously obvious that Biden doesn't have two brain cells left to rub together. That the only reason he's in power is because of a fake election. It's unbelievable. It's like and Claire. I mean, I talked to Cosmic Claire about this because we're both fans of C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia. The fake when Aslan the lion comes back in the last battle, the final book of the series. When the main character first sees him, the king of Narnia, who's in prison, basically he's tied up to a tree. He says, "What's this sort of thing?" And it's this weird looking. Everyone's going, "Oh, Aslan, Aslan!" And the lion comes out. And it's a donkey dressed up as a lion. And he said, "It's a small little weird looking thing. I don't think a lion would look like that," he says. I've never seen a lion before, but I thought it'd be a slightly more impressive creature than that. And it's very obvious that Aslan is the lion. It's not real. It's fake. And that's really the situation we're in now. The funny thing is that Tina Silver says Aslan means lion in Persian. All right, I thought it was Turkish, but I know that Lewis borrowed a lot of words from other languages. I know Narnia is actually a place in Italy. It was called Narnia. It's called Narni today, but the Romans called it Narnia. And that's the thing is, if you read that book, you'll know that in the end things turn out okay. But then it's kind of like a big apocalypse moment. That's how the whole story ends, with like a big apocalypse. The actual Chronicles of Narnia series is like an entire history of the universe, from beginning to end, basically. And 69 Phuket says C.S. Lewis inspired me to dare to dream. Yeah, me too. Me too. Michael Snow, US on the verge of a civil war. Yes, I don't see any way forward. I mean, the alternative, if there's no civil war, because obviously the problem is that the globalists have now taken over everything. They've got their puppet president in there. They've taken over the legislature with more fraud. Do you remember I talked about the Georgia runoffs? You see the same F-graphs on there. You see the same hockey stick-like lines. That's not even fraud. When they're doing it that openly, you can't really call it fraud, can you? And that means that they've taken over those branches of the government. The third branch, which is the judiciary, is obviously that has no teeth. It's because I was listening to this person. Who was it who was talking about it? Who was going through like the fact that it was never heard. The courts didn't hear the case properly. They were obviously very, very reluctant to go there because they knew the implications of what they were ruling on. And Pookie Nana says they're all in a cold civil war, yeah. Dalai Lama says, no, it's called Western democracy, Ben. Well, this is the problem, Dalai. It feels like at the moment we're heading back to the bad old days of politics. I mean, you may have noticed from me that... I never really took a serious interest in mainstream politics until, like, the Brexit referendum came up. Before that, I really wasn't very interested in mainstream politics at all, and I didn't see any point. I mean, Stefan Molyneux has been saying this. Obviously, I disagree with Stefan Molyneux on so much, but he's saying I don't want anything more to do with political commentary. I'm leaving political commentary because basically it's becoming like it's just like worldwide wrestling. You know, it's just all fixed. It's all rigged. What's the point? What's the point of doing commentary on a essentially a charade, a farce, some kind of musical vaudeville routine, which is what it's like. And he says, I don't want to do commentary on that. Neither do I. I'm not going to take interest and do a lot of commentary if you get like one establishment candidate against the other, or multiple rigged elections. This is why the election in France is not really going to interest me very much if it's obvious that it's going to just simply be fixed so that they get Macron back in, or some other little internationalist globalist gimp. It'll either be him or it'll be some other suited puppet, rather than their Trump, who's Marine Le Pen. TK asks, is Brexit a fix? No, it's not. Do watch if you haven't done it already, do watch my video called Why 2016 Matters. Do watch that. So if we go back to the bad old days of politics, then expect me not to talk very much about it. I'll be still covering other subjects such as the UFOs and the paranormal and things like that. But I'm not going to bother. I mean, there's no point voting. I mean, there's no point even voting if that's the case. I'm not going to take part in a fake exercise of democracy. Cosmic Claire says C.S. Lewis's Interplanetary trilogy is a description of the world as being taken over by postmodernism. You know, I've got to read that, Claire. I really do, because you've told me so much about that. Onslow is watching The Rail Cowgirl. Oh, great! I watch her a lot. I always watch her with something playing in the background, obviously. But 69 Food got Isaac Asimov, The Foundation trilogy. Oh, that's Morgoth's Reviewers did a video about that the other day. I read a bit of that. It's like it's a bit sort of disjointed. I read a little bit of the first book and didn't get very far with it. TJB2 asks if I've read The Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. No. The only thing I've read by C.S. Lewis so far is The Chronicles of Narnia and Surprised by Joy, which were very good. Out of the Silent Planet. No, I should read more of it, actually, yeah. I should read more of his stuff. Diego Vera, why does it still feel the same? Brexit is a red herring. It's not. It's not. I've tried to explain that, Diego Vera. We've debated this many times, you and I. And it's not. It's simply, it's something real. It was a real breakdown in the globalist system, in the international Illuminati. K Noy says Dave Murphy is now eating his own shit to go with the busy. Oh God! Oh dear. Yeah, Dave was always into this urine drinking thing. Oh dear. Oh. Jock of Ages says something very good here. Anthony Sutton explains some good information on the fake Cold War. He does. Yes, I mean his National Suicide. Do read that book. It's bloody good. Cosmic Claire, Morgoth, excellent analysis of the Foundation. It's ultimately atheist and nihilistic. Yeah, he's very clever, Morgoth. He's this Geordie guy. He sounds a bit like a fisherman himself, actually, but he's like very intellectual. I think he's a working class guy who's self-taught, a bit like me. And I think very interesting bloke. Yeah, I've done a couple. If you notice, I've done a couple of reply videos to Morgoth because I disagree with him on quite a bit. So. Hugo Roon says, I was watching a something video recently with Google Earth images. I think you miswrote George's Says video recently. Hugo Roon, accident, and suddenly there were two flying discs in one frame. Could you post a link, Hugo? I'll need to approve it, but I'll be interested to see that. Thanks. UFOs do sometimes appear at odd times in videos, like news reports and things like that. So I am kind of I know, like many of my live streams, I sort of ramble around the place. I'm trying to stick to the narrative, but of course I've got to answer your questions as well. And I don't really have a lead off for this particular video. But the problem now, I think now. If the Illuminati succeed, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, if they succeed in their plan to take back the United States, then what they're going to do next. Claire says Dune was hard work, but the philosophy is really much better than Asimov. I liked Dune. I've only read the first Dune book, and I've watched the movie, the old one, the David Lynch one. I mean, the new one is pathetic, but the original David Lynch one is fantastic. But it's very, very good, very interesting scenario. It's kind of like a futuristic sci-fi thing, but in terms of its society, it's very medieval. In terms of the society is much more like the Middle Ages in Europe. Michael Snow says Vorsh is a prick. He is a bit, isn't he? I don't like him at all. He admits he's autistic. I mean, Vorsh says, I think that he's autistic, and he's not, doesn't make a secret of that. Now I think we are going to get an attack on Brexit Britain. Now, what's going to happen, I believe, if it's not stopped? And as I said, this is only if. This is not a prediction. It's just a warning of what might happen. And that is that Joe Biden is going to try to break down Brexit Britain, or whoever's behind Joe Biden. The thing about one of the best things Trump did in his administration, one of the best swamp draining exercises, was he cancelled TTIP, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, which is basically a form of hyper-regulation for transatlantic trade between Europe, the European Union, and the USA, which of course has always been a huge part of the world economy. I mean, in the two world wars in the 20th century, the first thing Germany did in both of those wars to as a strategic maneuver against the enemy was to send submarines into the Atlantic Ocean to attack the transatlantic shipping. And that of course led to rationing and things like that, to try and starve Britain out, cut the links between North America and Europe. And they know that will bring down both sides will shrivel without that lifeblood of trade. Glowtone says, Ben, I've been following the case of the two Dutch girls who went missing while on holiday. Work experience trip to Panama. Chris Kremers and Lisen Frohn. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I'm half Dutch myself. The Trump actually cancelled TTIP. Now, what would have happened was this: basically, European Union would be hyper-regulating all transport, like goods, services, commodities between the Empire and North America. Now, Trump cancelled that very, very wisely. I did like an article about how awful TTIP was. I went to an anti-TTIP meeting. This was long before the Brexit situation even came up. I think it was back in like 2013, 2014. I wrote a Her Panmo Voice article on it. And Annalisa Dodds was there, who's now our bloody MP. But she was very anti. Well, she wasn't anti-TTIP. She was taking a kind of shrug in her shoulders view of it, because, of course, she wanted to get elected when Andrew Smith was basically retired. Andrew Smith was our MP. He was MP for like 40 years. He was Tony Blair's education secretary. And yeah. But Cosmic Claire says, Creepy Joe wants to reinstall TTIP and the TPP. TPP is like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's basically the same thing for the Pacific Ocean, connecting it to China, Japan, and the big heavy industries in the Far East. The Far East is the only place in the world with heavy industries now. So, yeah. One of the reasons he's doing this, one of the reasons Creepy Joe, or whoever's behind him, wants to do this, is because with TTIP, TTIP can now be used to essentially wage a trade war against the UK. Because the UK is no longer in the EU, TTIP means basically that Britain will need to set up a separate bilateral trade deal with the United States, which in an ideal world would be a great thing to do. Would be a great deal, a great agreement, which will benefit both sides. Which means low import duties, plenty of subsidies, things like that. But what Biden's going to do? He's going to Kamala, it'll probably be Kamala Harris by then, because she's just waiting for an opportunity to slip something into Biden's tea, isn't she? You can just see it. And she'll be a woman of colour in the White House, and things like that. And the glass ceiling will break and rain down on everyone, and then And then whoever it is, whether it's Biden or Kamala Harris, there's going to be Boris is going to want to set up like an independent trade agreement with the US, but just bilateral between the two nations, and he's going to go, no. And Boris will go, what? What do you mean, no? I am going to subsidise trade with the EU, and I'm going to put vast import duties on British goods. That's what he's going to do. And then, of course, Boris will respond by trying to do the same to the UK, to US imported goods, and that's how trade wars start. But what's going to happen is the solution that's going to be offered to this problem. No one is going to turn to Biden and say, "Oh, isn't he horrible doing this to us?" No one's going to do that. The way it's going to be portrayed in the media is, this is what Brexit has led to. It's Brexit's fault. It's everyone who voted leave. It's their fault. Brexit was a terrible thing because it's led to this situation. And the whole process of Brexit, the whole concept of Brexit, the whole spirit of Brexit is going to be blamed for this trade war. Not Biden, not the Illuminati deep state in control of the US. It's going to be blamed on Brexit, and the solution is going to be, look, if this won't work, then we're just going to have to rejoin the EU. Because we can't survive in this situation with this trade war. We can stop this trade war now simply by rejoining the EU. And of course, Barnier and von der Leyen and Juncker and all these people will be opening the door and saying, "Come back in, Britain! Come back in! We knew you wouldn't be away for long." That's what's planned, I think. And TTIP is going to be used to do it. The good news is that I think. Oh, hang on, something. I think I accidentally deleted someone's message. Yes, oh, we are. No, Dalai Lapus. Sorry, Dal, I accidentally deleted your message. It says, they tried that 6 years ago, B2. Sadly, the commander got all. What about the children? So here we are, getting fucked every day. All right. Green Sky, welcome. So that's what I think is planned. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can. Obviously, it won't only works if people believe it. We can stop it by spreading the information. All right, Tal, there you are. I published your comments. We can stop it very easily in a moment just by understanding what it is. I know there's certain people who just won't listen. It'll fall on deaf ears. My dad is just going to go along with everything. A lot of people just go along with it. Oh, it's the Brexiteers' fault. It's those horrible white van drivers. It's all those people who voted leave. This wouldn't have happened. This wouldn't have happened if we hadn't listened to them. If we just stayed in the EU to begin with, and it's just there's an astonishing, there's a very, very sadly low level of basic courage among most people, I think, and also narrow-mindedness, a blinkered view, not being able to see the bigger picture. This is very sad. I find a lot of people are like that. No one's flower. Hello, we are prisoners in our own home. I'm so despondent. I'm sorry, no one's flowered. Don't give up. Don't give up. We got this technology so we can communicate, social media, like you are now, and this could be the one thing that wakes people up, I think. So I think that covers all my notes that I've made. Yeah. So basically, I don't know if anyone wants to add anything. I mean, it could be you'll want to. I just think that we don't know where it's going to go now. We're kind of on a tipping point right now. Hugo Rune says, Ben, did you get the video link? No, Hugo, I was waiting for you to provide it. You were talking about a video. Sorry if I misunderstood you. If you could find the video link, I'd be grateful. I'm just... I'll look at it up later. I'll Google it later if necessary. Eman Pedima, hello. Now the nasty EU is keeping the vaccines from us, apparently. Perhaps they're not all bad after all. I know it's a bit of a weird thing, isn't it? Because this is where I'm going to this is where I'm going to kind of disagree with loads of Brexiteers, because a lot of Brexiteers, they buy the official story of the coronavirus. I mean, not all of them. Some of them are wise enough to see through it. Hugo says, I've sent you the YouTube link 3 times. Here again. So, Hugo, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Where is it? I mean, I can't. I didn't see it. Malaya Haya, the knife edge is absolutely right. One thing's for certain, I think. Hang on. Cosmic Claire says, people who think it's cool to gloat over the fact that a pedo gang boss and his cronies committed the largest election fraud in history as bad as the pedo. Kevin Logan, Christy Winters, they're all laughing about it. I don't think they really understand where it is, but what's going on. But yeah, they just I think they're just pretending. A lot of them are just pretending that it's legitimate. Ravenhill, the Sly Merchant of Darkmere, 1968. Hello, how are you? Well, Ben, I think the stream cut out earlier, but I asked, do you think Brexit will stop the problem of mass immigration into Britain? No, it won't. Not on its own. It's going to need. Well, I think it's. Put it this way: without Brexit, it can't be stopped. With Brexit, it can be. It doesn't mean it will be. It doesn't mean it will be. Hugo Root says, for some reason it's not allowing you showing YouTube links in the messages. Yeah, it's weird, Hugo, because normally when people post links, I can see them on my control board, but they don't appear on the. Hugo's going to email at me. Thank you very much. They appear on the control board, but they're not visible on the actual stream until I approve them if they're like links. The where was it? What was I talking about? Yeah, the mass migration. Yeah, the mass migration thing, I think, can be exposed if as soon as people realise it's not something that's being allowed to happen, it's something that's being made to happen. So it's not just like opening the borders and letting people in. This is an industrialised movement of people. It's being done deliberately. Essentially, people are being moved. They're being persuaded to move from one part of the world to another, and this is the biggest movement of people that's been seen since World War II, and it is still going on. It's going to continue going on until that is exposed. When that is exposed, it can be stopped. It can be stopped peacefully. Believe it or not, it can be ended peacefully, and it can be dealt with peacefully. There's no need for any kind of massive roundup of people. I mean, the same process which caused people to move to one part of the world can be brought in to move them back. People say, "Well, that could never happen. They'll never leave." They will. They will. As soon as you make it worth their while, they'll leave. Someone says here, "What's DJ Buju? Ben, what are your thoughts on the GameStop thing?" Do you know what? I tried to. Sargon of Akkad did a thing about it, and I couldn't follow it. Malaya Haya says 10 p.m. your time. Oh right, where are you, Malaya? I thought you said you were in Australia. As for the GameStop thing, well, from what I gather, it's got something to do with that there was some kind of what's the way Sargon explained it. There was some kind of crowd, basically a bunch of private individuals got together and tried to manipulate the stock market. When this is normally done with organisations, like they said, the hedge funds, the people who basically you give them their money and they distribute it for you in the stock market. So what happened was, I think there's a group of people on Reddit got together and by some way I didn't quite follow, have managed to manipulate Wall Street just basically by trolling on Reddit. I'll have to watch some more information on that. I didn't quite grasp it. The Dalai Lama says, day one, we should send back all the Dutch and their descendants. Oh, that's me. I am the son of an immigrant. That's right. Malaya says, I'm in Montana, USA, and tonight there's 4 UFO sightings in Australia since last night. KBS guests from Australia. Is that the Kev Baker show, Malaya? Oh, I'm interested to hear. I'll have to look that up, because Australia had another really interesting UFO sighting the other day. What was it? Oh. 69 Phuket. If you miss Bitcoins, just give up. It's not for us God-fearing folks. Well, the thing about Bitcoin is you have to get on early. I mean, people like Niall Murphy, really, they got on that ladder very early, and so they made a lot of cash off it because they bought bitcoins when they were cheap, and they're now worth a million times what they were originally. Pi So, hello Pi. Sargon of Akkad is an idiot. He has Biden derangement syndrome. I don't like Biden, but he's doing exactly what CNN did to Trump when he was president. Yeah, I mean, Sargon is upset with how things have turned out, as am I. Thing is, Sargon and I see the world very differently. I've done several reply videos to Sargon of Akkad as well. I respect him and I like his comment, and I think he's very interesting, like I do Morgoth's review. But I got my differences with him. Like same with Stefan Molyneux, same with all the other people I do reply videos to. Oh, the Kev Baker Wookie House Discord server. Right, you are. Thanks, Malaya. Oh, of course, I can check that out. Pike So says he also keeps saying Biden has a private jet when he doesn't. He used a charter for the day before the inauguration. He doesn't own it, but Sargon just simply ignores the fact and says he owns the jet. All right, okay, it was a mistake Sargon made. So Biden chartered a jet. Is that normally the way new presidents go to the White House? Because, of course, go to Washington for their inauguration. Wouldn't they? Are they allowed to use Air Force One? Because Trump was in Air Force One at that time. He was flying to Florida on Air Force One. I know Simon Park said he just circled D.C. and landed again. I don't see any reason to think that. Apparently, at the moment, he's at the Mar-a-Lago site, his home in Florida. And halfway through that flight, he ceased to be president. And, well, he didn't actually cease to be president, but you know what I mean. The fake president was sworn in. And but he was allowed to stay on Air Force One. They didn't just throw him out, which is nice. It's with a parachute. And then old Biden phones up and says, Donald, can I have my plane back, please? I'm using it at the moment. TK says they're just pretending Joe has won. Yep. Beijing Joe has not won. They're just, and the thing is, like, it's like an emperor has new clothes. It's the elephant in the room. It's so obvious. John Nolan says, I'm watching Independence Day, Ben. Maybe Sleepy Joe will save the planet like the president in the movie did. I think the only thing Joe Biden could do better than that president in the movie, he could probably make a better speech. And he's a senile old git who's had 10 brain tumours. No, the Independence Day is an absolutely appalling film, but it's interesting to watch. It's very interesting to watch because it's a very, very blunt and monolithic piece of propaganda, which is, I think, setting us up for something. And it seems to be appealing to the lowest common denominator in terms of intelligence. I don't want to sound arrogant, but that's what it is. Cosmic Claire says, all the Creepy Joe videos have thousands of downvotes and hardly any ups. I noticed that. Actually, Claire. In fact, I contributed a few of the downvotes. They go like about more than 3/4 thumbs down, and then the channel just stops comments and stops thumbs. Hugo, I will check my email. I think it's open now. If it's open now, I'll check it now. Oh, it's Oh, dear, I've been logged out. Hugo, I'll have to check later. All right, babe. But I'll come back to that. All right, I will come back to that. Thank you very much. Eben Padima, has anyone seen the 2012 Guardian interview with Stanley Johnson? Is that Boris's dad? He wrote that book, didn't he? He wrote a kind of science fiction book. It's now become a new bestseller. Something to do with... Yeah, it's something to do with the coronavirus, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was exactly. DJ Booty, thanks for upvoting. Cheers. Guys, I'm just going to take a little break. I'll be back in a sec. You alright to play amongst yourselves while I do that? I'm not going to risk... I don't know how you mute the bloody mic. No, I'm just gonna. This new interface is bloody awful. I just can't stand it. Why does YouTube have to fix everything that's? This is generally, everything that's not broken has to be fixed. damn it, I'm not going to even try to do it on OBS because I'll probably mess the whole thing up and have to end the stream. Okay, guys, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Yes, I am. I hope you guys are alright. How's things, guys? Alright. We've still got 55 viewers. Oh, so how's it going? Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, who knows? It's do you know, it's quite exciting at the moment today. It's quite exciting. I don't feel particularly downhearted, believe it or not. I got this quiet confidence that seems to be just something inside me, which is kind of just like pulling through. You know what I mean? Just something subconscious. TK said, I think Ben needs a girlfriend. I had a girlfriend. But I don't think I'm not sure I want another one, actually. Not right now. Sometimes I think I do, but other times I don't, you know. No, I just think that we have it's an exciting situation to be in right now. I think it's an exciting situation. Despite everything, you know, I don't feel downhearted. I feel quietly confident, actually. Nothing... Hello, Christy Morland. How are you? Thank you very much. Leave Ben alone when he's fine. Thank you, Christy. Nothing really is... We can't go back, you see. We crossed the Rubicon. Do you know the Rubicon there was the famous story of Caesar crossing the River Rubicon because he couldn't go back then. He had to go forward and conquer Rome and everything like that. We're in that situation now. We are past a point of no return. Things cannot go back to how they used to be. This is like a permanent shift a seismic shift in the world that's happened. Like in the Lord of the Rings, the world has changed. I can feel it in the air. I can taste it in the waters. Galadriel in Lord of the Rings. She says that later on in the book, but in the beginning, in the beginning of the film, that's the first lines in the film is Galadriel saying that, and I think that's what it's like. The world has changed, and we've got we can't go back now. We can only go forward now. Things are either going to get very much worse or they're going to get much better. We're at the turning point now, the knife edge, as several people have said tonight. It's either going to get better or it's going to get worse. We don't know which. But it's certainly not going to stay the same. That's good. That's a good thing. Dalai Lama says, Benji Bentwaters is making far too much money twerking on an ex-hamster to entertain a relationship. I'm supposed to be keeping that secret, Dalai. Goodness me. Don't tell everyone, will you? Don't tell everyone. So the thing is, just it could get better. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of despondency in the truth movement right now. And Niall Murphy, Opaque Lens, he did a video about this. He's saying about how we shouldn't be black-pilling willy-nilly. We shouldn't just go around sprouting doom and gloom just because things haven't worked out quite how we liked. I've done 2 Panorama radio shows about this, actually. The last two Panorama radio shows have been all about this. About how, it's been a really shitty couple of weeks, hasn't it? It really has. And awful things have happened. But it could turn out that is just the impetus the world needs to bring about an improvement. It could be this darkest before the dawn. All the cliches, but they're true. It's true. When change happens, it can happen very fast. As I said, the 100th monkey effect is a real thing. Yeah, and 69 Phuket, no future nor past, just now. Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, I read that book. It's a very good book he wrote. Be in the now. He was very popular at the Findhorn community. I spent a week at the Findhorn community, and generally speaking, I didn't like it. But Cosmic Claire has written a book about her time in the sort of spiritual community. It's very interesting. But what's it called, Claire? I don't want to misquote the wrong. Hello, Brian Clare's there. Hello, how are you? Hugo Rune says time is not a dimension. Hugo Rune, have you seen my video, Time and the Langoliers? You might find it interesting if you haven't. I think you have, actually, yeah. Christine Moulin said, what is the nonsense of the EU stopping vaccines to Northern Ireland? The nonsense is that basically, obviously I have my own opinion on the vaccines, but it's just another of these using the Northern Ireland border, right, just as essentially an obstacle, an artificial obstacle, a row of traffic cones put in the way of Brexit. They've always done that. It's absurd. That border's 100 years old and it's worked perfectly well. I mean, yeah, I know there's issues to do with Ireland and what the future of Ireland should be. Some people said it shouldn't have happened. There should have been there should be United Ireland under the Republic, things like that. There was the Anglo-Irish Agreement, things like that. But some others said no. That there should be no home rule for Ireland and things like that. They fought a war over that in various forms. Yet, generally speaking, it's worked perfectly well. The only problem that's occurred is because of the Ramonas sticking their oar in over Brexit. Cosmic Claire says the true warrior does not cave in because of setbacks. Precisely. 2016 can happen again. If 2016 happened once, it can happen again. Sure, we realised this is going to be more difficult than we thought, but no one ever said this would be easy. No one ever said being a conspiratorial paranormal UFO person would be easy. And we just got to dig in, wait it out, look after each other, take care of each other. Waking the Monkey, yes. Cosmic Claire, Waking the Monkey, very interesting book. The 100th Monkey Camp Experience from the 90s. Yeah, I don't know if you've read my article about my week at the Findhorn community, Claire, but you might find it interesting because I enjoyed it, but there was a lot of problems. This was back in 2005 that I felt there was something wrong. There was something wrong with it. Something wasn't quite right. John Nolan says Miles Johnston talks to some oddballs. Where does he find them? Oh, well, they're all over the place, John. I mean, I'm one of them. Tika says it was better when there was no border and England owned Ireland. Oh my goodness me! Are you going to be lynched by some Irish people now? However, obviously, like this is the problem. Like, obviously, the Irish government is not a very, very good government, is it? I mean, they're obviously controlled by the deep state. They had look at how they've caved into Europe, the EU. Look at how they've caved into everything else. They're one of the most cucked governments in Europe. They caved into the European Central Bank. They got the euro. I think the problem with Ireland, and I mean this goes for Wales as well, which is where I come from. Claire, I will send you a link to my Findhorn community article. Yes, you'll find it very interesting. You can probably find it actually on the main Hapanwo site. Heidi TTFN, how are you? I was going to say that the problem with Ireland is a problem that also I find with Wales and with Scotland. And one of the reasons Scotland is in the situation it is in now, if I'm correct, and I'm not insulting the Scots, I'm making the same criticism of my own ancestral homeland, and Ireland, is that they've got this delusion in their head, and I know it's to do with our history. It's to do with our history. That we've got this delusion in our head that our countries cannot have any foreign enemy other than England. It is physically impossible. There are laws of the universe that prevent Ireland, Wales and Scotland having any foreign enemy other than England. So, and as I said, it's understandable considering history, but it's not true. In a sense, this lulls us into a sense of false security. The Irish can think, they hark back to like the Easter Rising. They say, well, at least we've beaten the Brits now. We'll be fine. We'll be fine now. We've beaten the Brits. But you won't be fine because the Brits aren't a problem anymore. It's the same with Wales. Look at Wales. Plaid Cymru is now a federalist party. They're quite openly. Plaid Cymru are like the SNP, but more honest. They're actually literally saying, we want an independent Wales in the European Union in a single stage. Not even understanding the internal contradiction of that sentence. We want an independent Wales in the European Union. I did a video about that called Why I Am Not a Welsh Nationalist. And this is a problem that Ireland have. Ireland thinks now that there's nothing, they've had a century of independence, and because they beat the Brits, then basically they're just frolicking in shamrocks now from here to eternity. That's what they think. I think a lot of them do have this idea, and it's wrong. It's fake. Ireland can have another foreign enemy other than Britain. Same with Wales. Heidi's in Greece. Nice one, Heidi. Heidi, what? I'm still. Heidi and I both use on Stella, and on Stella has gone down, which is very sad. And I'm still looking. I wrote an article about it the other day. I'm still looking into why that happened, and hopefully that on Stella can come back up, because it's a great social media site, especially for loonies like us. Djokovic, yeah, there's that program. Why does everyone hate the English? Oh, it's ridiculous, Jock. It's absurd. England, the UK was as much a shackled client nation in the European Empire as Ireland was. But they still got this idea in their head. Oh no, it's the Brits. We've got to beat the Brits. Sod the EU. Let's join the EU. It doesn't matter. At least we beat the Brits. Cosmic Claire said, if the Irish hadn't spent hundreds of years fighting amongst themselves, they would never have been conquered by Cromwell. Yeah, definitely. Onslow says, Ben, will Boris be the last Prime Minister? I don't know, Onslow. He will certainly be He's the first and last Prime Minister I've ever felt any sense of respect for. I've ever felt any sense of admiration. Certainly in my lifetime. I mean, I look back at Margaret Thatcher and I realise that, you know, she was like the bête noire of because I was a trade unionist back then. When it was actually slightly after Thatcher's. It was just slightly after Thatcher I became a trade unionist. However, I understand that she was like the bête noire of the left. But I look back now and I think she actually did some good things. Tony Blair was pure evil. He was horrible. John Major was just another Tony Blair. Gordon Brown was another Tony Blair. Theresa, and then there was Cabbage Patch Cameron. Enough said about him. Then there was old crooked Theresa, the what was it? The Ramona who was organising Brexit. Heidi, okay, Heidi. I know Heidi and I have been having private conversations that I won't reveal now, but yeah. I do hope to see on Stella return at some point. It's a wonderful, wonderful sight. 69 Phuket. The Sassenachs, yes. The Sassenachs. In Welsh, it's Saeson in Welsh, but it's like in Wales, it's like all over Wales actually. Whether it's in like the rural farming Welsh-speaking areas of the north and west, or in the industrial, urban English-speaking areas of the south. There's this bloody English attitude. There's a lot of anti-English, anti-Anglophobia in both those parts of Wales and both those cultures within Wales, and it's got time to grow up. It's time to get into the present day. I say that as a Welsh person myself. Got to get out of the past. Get out of your victim mentality. I mean, honestly, like a bunch of feminists, they really are. Oh, the bloody English. Oh. Cosmic Claire, Maggie was the nasty medicine this country had to take for our own good. Look at the 70s. Claire, I look back at it now and I see Maggie. I see her. I look on her far more favourably than I used to, and I look at her in with hindsight as a historical figure much more favourably. Maya Tusi is a huge fan of hers. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but I'm guessing he wasn't even born when she was Prime Minister. Dalai Lama says, I dream for the day that we join a coalition of Germans, Russians, Canadians, Australians and New Zealanders and kick 7 shades of shite out of the US. Oh, Dalai. Really? That's not very nice. The US is great. The US is actually a very positive force in the world, believe it or not. Or at least it could be if it's free, if it is free. If it is made free. Hugo Roon says, officially I'm English, but I was born North London, but I deny being English. Oh, Hugo, I know you have your own view of history as well, which is interesting. About it's like the fuss over the word Celtic. I mean, and it's like the word over Semitic. Very often, people use words for simply groups of languages to describe races and nationalities of people, and they shouldn't. John Nolan, is Johnny Whistles? Yeah, I haven't seen Johnny on Kev Baker anymore. No, I stayed with Johnny Whistles in Glasgow. He gave me a place to stay when I went to the conference there. All right, guys. We've been going now for an hour and 48 minutes. So, anything else? Does anyone want to bring any other subjects up? Because I've been through the whole Brexit thing. There's not a lot more I can say about Brexit now until there is more. Till more comes up that we know about, I think. Cosmic Claire, I hated Maggie at the time because I was just embedded in leftist subculture, but I was never actually politically active. It was just a fashion. Claire, I know what you mean. I mean, I was kind of... I was a trade unionist for a very short period of time. It was when I started at the hospital I sort of fell into it. I saw through it very quickly, actually. Even before I really knew how to articulate what was wrong with it, I knew something was wrong with it. Hugo Rune says Palestine is Semitic, as is Jordan, Syria, Saudi, the whole peninsula. Yeah, they speak Semitic languages, which includes colloquial Hebrew and classic Hebrew, Arabic, and lots of other language like that. Heidi TTFN, Capel Green. Yes, it's coming. It's coming. I mean, I know people hear that all the time. Oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But it'll be there. It'll be there eventually. It's an active project. I'm in touch with the people making it, and it is an active project. But it's just these things take time, unfortunately. You need a lot of patience when you're making films. It's like writing a book. I mean, I'm trying to write a book at the moment. I'm thinking, am I ever going to finish it? I'm trying to write a new book right now and trying to find time and everything, you know? Heidi TTN. Oops. What, Capel Green? Is Capel Green? Is there any secrets to do with Capel Green? We haven't said anything secret about Capel Green. Green Sky. It was the Romans that created the border between England and Scotland, and Scotland may have got its name from the Egyptian Queen Scotia. Well, you could say some people have said that the English and Scottish differences come from the original Roman occupation, which ended at the Hadrian's Wall, which is slightly south of the modern Scottish border. It runs from the western border, the western outskirts of Newcastle on Tyne, across to the Solway Firth, the famous wall. Well, you've seen the video I made there, didn't I? Didn't you? I actually went to some of the wall and I explored it with my friends from Truth Seekers North East. And I had a big Boudica moment there, didn't I? Pookie Nana, do you snog on first dates? No, I don't, actually. Well, sorry to disappoint you if you're thinking of having a date with me. Brian Clay, Unison. Yeah, I was in Unison, Brian. I was actually a Unison shop steward for a very short period of time. The training course, actually, that I went on put me off because I met a guy who told me he said, "You're a porter, aren't you, Ben?" Yeah. I was a kid. I was 18. I was just some stupid kid. And I was a stupid kid. I got into hospital portering almost accidentally, actually. I was like really downhearted because I got kicked out of Royal Navy training. And I was really... I was like David Icke when he had to retire from professional football. I was about the same age as well. And didn't have a clue what I wanted to do with my life. I ended up in hospital portering. Sort of got really suddenly got taken in by the idea of leftism, actually, in that sense. Night Jock of Ages, Jock's going. Heidi TTFN, am I going to be at the premiere of Capel Green? Yes, I am. But then I went on this training course. I wanted to be a shop steward. I saw trade unionism, and it's easy for a young, immature person. It is an enticing lure, I must say. I mean, but I went on this training course, and this guy was there who told me, and I'll say his name. His name's Mark Strange. Because I don't think... But he told me... at least I think that's what his name was. I don't want to smear someone. It was a long time ago. I can't remember everything from back then. But I think his name was Mark something. So if there is a Mark Strange and I got that wrong, I've got to apologise. So I'm not as sure as I thought I was. But he said, when you're portering, do you ever do portering on the private wards? I says, yeah. There are 2 private wards at the hospital for private patients. He says, see if you can... be as rude and unpleasant to these patients as you can get away with. Just be nasty to them. I says, I can't be nasty. Yeah, just do it cleverly so that you get away with it. And if you have a patient with a particularly painful condition and you're wheeling them along, see if you can accidentally crash the bed into the wall to give them a jolt, basically to hurt them. And I was too young and too naive to really understand what was going on. But I thought, obviously, if he said that now, I'd have told him to get lost, or words to that effect, and I'd have reported him. But he was encouraged. He was actually telling me to abuse patients because they were private patients, and I quit soon after that. Even though, like I said, I didn't really have the wherewithal to understand exactly what was going on. But that really was the beginning and the end of my trade union career. I think I was hardcore for less than a year. Anyway, Cosmic. Some really good. There's some really good comments here. Hugo Rune. The Romans called Scotland Caledonia. That's right. Cosmic Claire. I sent my manuscript to a publisher this week because reservations about using Amazon self-publishing the way it's behaved recently. All right, that's your new book, Claire. All right, okay. You don't have to use Amazon self-publishing. You can use Ingram Spark. I think have you used them before? You don't have to use Amazon, honestly. The thing about if you go to a publisher, you'll probably take a long time because they'll have to edit it and things like that, and they may well make changes you don't like and things like that. But if you go to Ingram Spark, you can do it. You can publish it now, and then you can do it now, and then it'll probably be okay. Actually, I mean, I use Ingram Spark, and they're pretty good. Dalai Lama, but do you... Oh, I'm not going to read that out. Honestly, you are unbelievable, aren't you? Manchester is blue. Hello. You were a good hospital porter. Thanks, Manchester. I was. In all no false modesty, I was the best. I mean, I was... When they sacked me, they were sacking their most, I think, also a valuable member of staff. Manchester says, you were ahead of your time. Now everyone is on YouTube and employers accept that, I think. You know, Manchester, it's odd, you know, that people have come up to me. It's just happened occasionally. They've come up to me and admitted that I was right all along. Heidi says NHS are a bunch of assholes. Yeah. Someone wrote to me the other day, actually. They didn't say what their job was, but they got into trouble. They were accused of stealing patients' property. And they were suspended. And then the management found out that they were innocent and someone else was basically caught. And the person who was suspended, their suspension was lifted, but they had to go through the 2-week back-to-work induction orientation course. You have to have like a post-suspension orientation if you've been suspended. And he had to go through that. And he got no apology. No apology at all. They're absolute scum. They are a bunch of... NHS management is a bunch of robotic, weak, stupid scum, basically. I mean, I consider it an enormous compliment that I was never offered promotion. In 23 years, I was a basic grade porter. 23 years as a basic grade porter. I was never considered for promotion. No one ever suggested I should try and apply for promotion. I was an acting senior at one point. I did an acting senior porter's job. But never was I... No one even came up and... Because they used to do this. They used to go up to people they thought might be good in supervisory or management role. They used to go up and they say, look, you know, they used to take you to one side and say, if you apply for this position, you've got a good chance of getting it. No one ever did that to me. And I consider it, and when I look at the state of the people they promoted, I consider that one of the most complimentary praise that I've ever had in my life. Claire says, I haven't used Ingram Spark. If this publisher doesn't take it up, I'll check that out. I used Lulu last time with Waking the Monkey. Yeah, Claire, there's loads of options for self-publishing that are better than Amazon's house kit. I mean, you probably would get banned off Amazon, you see. That's going to happen anyway, though. Even if you go for a publisher, you will probably get your book banned from Amazon. Because I've seen the book, I've seen I've seen the article you wrote, which was like a little excerpt and précis of the book, and I think you will get banned from Amazon no matter what, because your book is extremely politically incorrect. Cosmic Claire, The Burden of Being an Outsider. I read the book by Colin Wilson when I was 18. Colin Wilson was an absolute genius. He was brilliant. And you know, he was a hospital porter. Only for a short time, but he went into the pharmacy eventually. That's when he had his transcendental experience, when he almost overdosed himself to commit suicide. And he had this amazing transcendental experience, a spiritual awakening. But he was a hospital porter for a while, yeah. Brilliant man, Colin Wilson, yeah. Very politically incorrect. He's another one who's been cancelled. Why would they apologise when they use tools to the Liverpool care pathway? Yeah, they're never good. They treat you like you're nothing. And 69 Phuket says NHS scum heroes. There are heroes in the NHS, but the heroes are the people like me who actually did it. But the actual system itself, it's a horrible bureaucracy. It's a horrible, greedy, inefficient, badly run, and destructive bureaucracy. It's killed more people than it's probably killed more people than any other state institution in the country ever. It's killed more than the army, and in war, it's probably killed more people than the military. I mean, no one knows exactly how many. No one knows exactly how many people have been killed, but it's millions of people have been killed by the NHS in medical incompetence, malpractice, and indeed the Liverpool pathway you just mentioned, all kinds of other things, side effects of prescription drugs, all those kinds of things. It builds up, and I reckon it's millions of people they've killed. 69 Phuket. Guy waits outside in his Audi to shag his portress on her smoke break against the wall. Phuket, it's uncanny how much you know about me, you know. It really is. You've been spying on me. You must have been reading my file at MI5 or something. It really is. Cosmic Clay, you can still get lots of those cancelled books on Abe Books. That's right. They never see. It's never going to be the end. I mean, just because this is the good thing. In the end, we're going to win because you can't whack-a-mole every single outlet. I mean, a lot of people have been banned. You can get their books elsewhere. I've bought books from independent sellers that have been banned on Amazon. Jamie Hussain. Hello, Jamie. How are you? You were a great porter. We miss you, but you were better off out of this hospital. It only gets worse. Jamie, yeah. Oh, you must be a Brother Porter. Pride and dignity, Brother Porter. Oh, man, it's... I miss you. I didn't realise who you were. Sorry, I miss you guys too. I really do. I miss... If there's one thing I really do miss about the hospital, it is that sense of belonging. It's that sense of being a part of something, a community. It's almost like a sense of patriotism for a country or something like that. It's similar to that. And I miss the camaraderie. I miss the crack, the fun we had, the banter. I miss that. I miss you guys very much. But the job, the actual work, I miss much less than I thought I would. I do. I miss it a lot less. When I got kicked out, I was very, very sad, but I got to miss it a lot less than I thought I would. Cosmic Claire says, I have a ton of politically incorrect books from the charity bookshop. Good on you, Claire. Yeah, keep them safe. Keep them safe. Because you never know, the time could come when yours might be the last copy and they'll want to reprint it, in the post-Illuminati world. TTFN, what are your thoughts on the COVID vaccine? Oh my goodness me. Well, I don't think anyone should take it. I think it's been rushed into production. Even in the sort of like less crazy people than me are saying it's not been tested properly. There's too many risks associated with it. It's not gone through the proper safety checks, and so I'm not going to take it. 35% of British people say they're not going to have the vaccine. Hello, Lime Specs. How are you? Am I going to take the vaccine? Does Katie Price sleep on her back? Heidi, yeah, I missed that side of it. The NHS, it's certainly when I started out, it was really wonderful. I used to come to work just to have fun. I used to look forward to going to work because I could be part of that family. It was just wonderful. And I get kicked out. Suddenly I'm out of it, and it's like, what do I do now? It's like I'm in this world where I can't relate to people that way. They haven't shared my experiences. The shared experiences of NHS service, I think, is part of what builds that camaraderie. And suddenly, when I'm suddenly kicked out on the street, and I'm like, it happened. All happened very quickly. I was sacked, and I was out, and suddenly I didn't have that, and I was lost. I was in a bit of a tizzy for a while. I was, people said to me, "Oh, it's just a job, just a job." No, it's not just a job. It's a way of life. It's a culture. It's a community. It's to be kicked out of that is. It must be rather like how an old soldier feels when he has to leave the army. I got over it, of course, though. I mean, obviously, I rebuilt my life, and I'm quite pleased with how things turned out. Adrian, hello. Nice to see you again. You haven't seen me on the streams in ages. Well, I'm back now, so welcome. Onslow says that belonging, you never sense of belonging. I've never felt, sadly, but you guys are kin to me. Well, yeah, in a sense, we are that, aren't we? We're the conspiratorial, paranormal UFO community now. And even with the lockdown, they can't take that away from us, thanks to technology. I've been going more than 2 hours, so anyone want to bring up anything else? Because otherwise I'll call it a night, I think. Oh, Iron Man Spartan says, when you was a hospital porter, did you see any paranormal activity? I had one experience, I think, which I thought might be, but I heard of others. There's lots of other interesting ones. I don't know. For example, there was this place called the Clinical Decisions Unit, which is basically part of A&E, where they move people because they want. It's just a way of massaging the figures, so they can say these people are not really in A&E. Clever, clever, clever. Yes, Adam Curtis's thing. What happened was one of the nurses. This happened actually. I wasn't actually on duty at the time. This happened. I was on a night shift, and this happened a couple of hours before I came on duty. So it would have been around about 8 p.m. One of the nurses ran out of there screaming. She was actually managing CDU at the time, and she ran out screaming. Apparently, she'd some kind of phantom apparition in the ward, and that's very common. Hospitals are absolute hotbeds for paranormal activity. One of the best places actually, because I think it's to do with all the death and the suffering and the fear in there. It's crime scenes, battlefields. There are other places which are often haunted. Hospitals are often haunted. Have you heard of Dr. Mitchell Gibson? He's an American doctor he basically, because he's psychic, he saw people. He would be like trying to resuscitate people in his ward, in the A&E or the theatre or wherever it was. He would fail and he'd walk out into the corridor and the person's spirit would be standing in front of him. Very interesting. The Dalai Lama says, "How's my implant?" The mark is still there. There's been no updates on that. Michael Snow says, "I nearly became a hospital porter in 2003 in Winchester Hospital, but the job was filled by existing employees." Oh, you got close, Michael, but but in 2003 it would still be worth joining. I would say now, don't bother. Limespec says, "Trump's gone radio silent, Ben. I know you don't agree, but I hope it's the last we'll see of him and his movement. We need to leave that behind and get back to normality." Well, Limespecs, it's I've always said that my material is open to everyone and my live streams and comments are open to everyone, but I think you're the most normie person who actually watches me. Well, there was one other person. There was Gemma Besant, and she's unfriended me now because I was saying things she didn't agree with. Michael Snow, "You must have some cool ghost stories as a hospital porter, Ben." I do have a few, yeah. I mean, I've heard mostly from other people. Hospital portering is an inside job, says Phuket. Yes, it's a conspiracy. Claire says, "Trump is the only sanity left, Limespecs. What with a massive fraud that's been foisted on the world." That's right. Limespecs, I think you're completely wrong, and I know we disagree on almost everything, so fair enough, but I have Trump has gone radio silent. He has gone radio silent, but that's probably because he's planning something. Apart from that, I totally disagree with you. Scowling Wolf, Nostar and Weird. Yeah, welcome, Scowling Wolf. Croeso. Legendville, enjoy the rest of your evening. Are we lonely men? Such a waste of time. That's a waste. Thank you, Jim. Oh, well, it's a lonely time now, isn't it? Especially, I was talking to another friend of mine who just basically lives on his own and he's like really fed up with it. But we're moving forward now. Things could get better. They could get worse. Obviously, I hope they get better. Steve Appleton says, "Camaraderie. Didn't he used to play on the wing for Del Trotter school football team?" Oh, I love Only Fools and Horses, yeah. Green Sky, "Do a lot of doctors understand the human spirit or soul? Because I think a lot of them do." I think they do. Quite a lot of them do. Like Mitchell Gibson is probably the most outspoken, but I'm sure a lot of them must share his opinion. Some of them did used to tell me privately that they had an open mind to that sort of thing. Dalai Lama, "Name one honest election in the past 200 years anywhere." I can't specifically. Even the 26th, there was an attempt to rig the 2016 election. Lying Spec says, "Thanks, Ben. People who know me would not call me a normie, but I suppose in the truth movement I'm partially sceptic." Fair enough, Lying Specs. Okay, well, if normie's the wrong word and I'm being unfair, fair enough. But I can only go by what you say, and what you said was very mainstream. I'm a skeptic, yeah, certainly. I don't have a problem with skeptics. I'm a member of Oxford Skeptics in the Pub, remember. Claire says, "Trump playing golf the other day was almost certainly for photo optics to distract." Yes, I think it is. He is being very clever. He's an extremely intelligent man. Trump, and he is doing what he needs to do right now because he has got a plan. He said we're going to be back in one form or another. Heidi says, so Ben, when are we setting up the hippie commune? Heidi, we're going to start our own Findhorn community, are we? Oh God, I hope if we do, we'll do a better job, I think, because it won't have all the problems I had with the actual Findhorn people. I actually made a video called New Age as well, where I talk about this a bit. It was just kind of a reply to Slaxer, because Slaxer was doing his his famous video about the what was it called? He did a really good video. It had a great title, New Age Narcissism or something like that. Michael Snow says, I went to a gig at the Bullingdon in Oxford by the Chameleons a couple of years back. Yeah, I hope that opens again soon, Michael. It's good. Hugo Roon says, sorry, Ben, but where do ghosts live? Well, hi, Hugo, they live in your attic, you know, and sometimes they come down to your bedroom when you're asleep. DJ Beta says 200 years, 1812 and all that. Yeah, 1812 was when 1812 was actually when the Houses of Congress were last invaded. They were actually invaded and they were gutted by fire. It's because of the Anglo-American War. Adrian, I used to enjoy your live streams with Kev Baker, Ben. I don't listen to TFR. Are you still putting out content with Kev? Yes. Kev has me on the show about once a month. We just done one actually last Monday. So check it out. It'll be on TFR. He also he edits part of it for his channel as well. Lime Spec says nothing about Trump suggests sanity to me. I think he was hoodwinked people with his populism and swamp drainage. It never happened. I think, Lime Specs, that's not fair. Now, do check out my videos I've done over the last couple of weeks, including my Alt Tech exclusives about that. Because, really, honestly, there's so much more to it than that. There's really so much more to it. Claire says Molyneux said that Trump has an IQ of 165, which I can believe. I'm not sure. I know he's obviously got a very high IQ. I don't know how high it is. Green Sky says I haven't heard of Peter Paget for a while. Is he okay? I get emails from him every so often because I'm on his list. He does round robin emails. 69 Phuket, Ben is a ghost. Yeah, I'm like Bruce Willis. But I don't know it, see. I don't know. Fuki Nana, do they snog on a first date? Who's that? Ghosts? Claire says correctly, no one ever explains what's the problem with Trump. He was unjustly smeared by fake allegations. True. Absolutely true. Michael Snow says, get Nick Hayes back. That shit is well, man. Funny enough, I just had a phone call from Nick. I haven't heard from Nick for a couple of weeks, and I just phoned him up today. I'd love to do another show with him, actually. But the thing is, I can't go there at the moment. But as soon as I can, because he lives just about 10 miles from me. As soon as I will, I'll go there. Richard Best, hello. I went to work the other day. When I came home, the attic door was opened. Oh my God, Richard Best. You're not a housemate of Hugo Roon, are you? John Nolan. Thomas Sheridan hates normies. I don't even think he hates them. I think he feels frustrated with normies, as I do. And I think he's frustrated that the level of mind control for many people has been so successful. And it's frustrating when you see people falling for tricks that are very transparently, or falling for lies that are very transparent, things that are very obviously fake, and accepting fallacies and things like that, and black, white, and things like that. Pookie Nana says Trump predicted 9/11 in one of his books. Which one, Pookie? Live Spec says, funny you mentioned that Kev Baker has 2 channels, but when I last looked, I couldn't see any of your appearances except one about 9 months ago. Am I looking at the wrong one? Possibly, Live Specs. I am. He's just uploaded his edited copy to one of his channels. I can't remember which one, but I did post a link on Paranormal Voice. TK says, yeah, they were planning Trump's next move during the meeting. They skipped and made Trump play golf to distract everyone from the planning. Yeah. It makes it look like he's just gone away to retire. Funny enough, he set up something called the Office of the Former President, which is it's basically just trolling Biden, because Biden had Sargon made a great video about this, or either him or Sticks, I can't remember, saying because Biden had this thing called the Office of the President-elect. As soon as he won the election, or didn't win, but was told, everyone told it was won, and of course there's no such thing. As I explained, it's a political fiction. There is no such thing as the Office of the President-elect. Adrian says, I like Thomas Sheridan's videos. They help me keep sane. Me too. I like his commentary. I mean, I don't agree with him on everything. I think he takes a dim view of QAnon, and as you know, I have a different view than that. But yeah, Thomas is great. Thomas is a great guy. Line Specs, sure. I mean, you can use the search function. Line Specs is going to check the Herpano Voice blog. By all means, Line Specs, and you can use the search function to find whatever you're looking for. Cosmic Claire, Trump must know a lot about behind-the-scenes stuff, 9/11 and etc., because he was in New York at the time and has deep connections. He must do, Claire. Yeah. In my open letter to Trump, I said, look, you must know that this is not what it appears to be. You must know about the aliens and things like that. Please do head out. Right, 2.25 hours. Does anyone else want to bring anything up? Does anyone else want to have anything more to discuss? Because if not, I'll call it a night, and we'll do another live stream sometime. Pookie Nana, the Trump's book, The America We Deserve. I'm looking forward to reading his next book, actually, because apparently he's writing another one now. TK, so why didn't Trump do disclosure? TK, you've just doubled the length of this live stream. Seriously, I don't think I won't. I'd rather. It's such a big question, and there's such a big answer connected to that I'd rather give it my full attention when I'm more fresh, and because that's a very good question, a very relevant one, and I think we should talk about that some more. Kevin Green, yeah, Kev does TFR. Of course, he can't put everything on TFR onto his website because it is a subscription service, but he puts selected clips and things like that on his YouTube channel. You know. TK, quick summary. Oh God, the decision was taken out of his hands. That's it in a sentence, but that's so much more I could say about that. Richard Best, a 7-foot praying mantis alien was spotted by a scruffy-looking factory worker. Really? Where was that? Cosmic Claire, Dark Journalist has tons of stuff on Trump's deep background connection with the secret space program and his Uncle John. Yes, I saw that video too, Claire, where he talks about Tesla. Night, Hugo. Thanks for joining. Thanks Pookie Nana for joining. Tidy TFN, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you once again for naming my channel. You rock. You're welcome, Heidi. You enjoy your channel's great. I love your sky watching videos. Hope to see you again soon sometime. I really do. Hope we get to go to the thing in Manchester. What's it called? Awakenings. I'd love that to happen again because the one I went to was great. Thanks, Pookie. Enjoy the rest of your evening too. He's probably too busy being cute. Night, Pookie. Adrian, please double the length of this live stream, says Adrian. I've run out. Even I have my limits. I'm a pretty robust guy. But happy Brexit Day, TK. Thank you, for reminding me of the theme of this particular live stream. And Stephen Law, hello. Are you not Dr. Stephen Law, are you? I remember Trump on St. and Greavesy, 1981, doing a draw for the League Cup quarterfinals. Yeah, that was before he was famous in this country. Yeah, the 1991. Sorry, yeah, he wasn't famous in this country then, but I remember St. and Greavesy. Yeah. Crafty Nice, what do you think about the recent US election, Ben? Crafty doesn't want me to go. Honestly, seriously though, check the videos I've made a series of videos about that, and I'm sure you'll find them interesting. Anyone who wants to check out my opinion. Night. Yeah, I'll hope to see you soon, Heidi. We can go to the. I'm sure there'll be an awakening. That'll come back again. Thumbs up, you lot. I 69 Phuket. You have awesome viewers. Yes, if you do say so yourself. Yes. Have a great evening, Onslow. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. There'll be another one soon. Another video coming soon. I'm not sure what about, but I've got several plans for videos. Dalai Lama. Did Larry Warren see the Bigfoot? He's reported it. Yes, he reported it a couple of times. Ray Whelan, UFO Disclosure 2021. Well, you have to watch the video I made about that a couple of weeks ago, just after New Year. Close a bit, Claire. Glad I synced in and caught your stream for a change. I'm glad you did too, Claire. You do really good commentary. Night 333 Kingdom. Night Ray Whelan. Watch my last UFO Disclosure video, Ray Whelan. Night Clotone. Even normie viewer says like specs. Yes, indeed. Pookie Nana. General George Patton looks like Trump. Yeah, he can't be a reincarnation because he actually died a few months after Trump was born. It was 46. Yeah, 1946. The lights were low. Gonna listen to this tonight as I couldn't be there. Oh, fair enough. You can always watch the Rail Cowgirl and put me on in the background like I do. I put other people on the background and watch the Rail Cowgirl. Night night Pookie Nana. Night night Dalai Lama. Is that everyone? Have we been through the Waltons routine now? I hope so. If there's right then, guys, time to end the stream. It's been really great. Happy Brexit Day tomorrow, of course, because it is tomorrow's Brexit Day. Celebrate any way you can, and there'll be many more Brexit days to come, I hope, and more besides. And don't let the buggers grind you down. Don't lose hope. Don't give up. It's not over yet. Till the fat lady sings, and the fat lady's keeping her mouth firmly shut at the moment. Take care.